And welcome back. With me right now is Steve Parsons from the third board. Nice to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hope you had a good holiday.
Sure did.
All right. And going to enjoy New Year's tonight?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Very good. So am I. You got a few things to talk about. And one of the first ones is energy. And you brought some stuff along that we'll get to in just a few minutes.
Correct. Yeah, I want to talk about some new challenges we're facing next year. And one of them is energy. And as some of you may know, we have a consultant on board who's looking at our infrastructure and what we have currently and what we'll need in the future. So looking forward into future energy needs, we're going to be looking at things like electric vehicles, what's needed there, additional golf cart parking, for instance, charging stations, things like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to work with them, third board I'm talking about, determining locations, the timing of when we want certain things installed, and funding sources. So they'll take all that in consideration as they figure out what our energy load needs to be and how we need to upgrade. So that's what's happening in energy. In parking, I've just been named to be chairman of the parking task force for Third Mutual. So we're going to be taking a relook at the current configurations for parking, such as underground, carports, and curbside parking. And one other thing we're looking at is possibility of restriping parking spots. Okay. We have some people that are overlapping, not parking necessarily where they should be. And you know, and I know that when you get out of whack, you can hit somebody else's door. Right. You know, with your door.
Is it because you need to change the configuration, or just because they need restriping?
Just need restriping.
Okay.
The stuff is so old. Okay. And a lot of places the paint is already worn off.
Right.
And people may have a hard time figuring out where they're going to be.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we are looking at especially electric vehicles and the recharging of those, and as well as golf carts.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where eventually, you know, a lot of what kind of charging stations where they may go. And I know the boards are all looking at how do we charge for this? You know, is it going to be like a swipe card, or because more and more they're going to be needed, and maybe not dedicated. You know, there's certain people may want them where they live is for their own personal use, but I know you're talking about in the boards maybe putting them at different clubhouses and things like that, and how many you'll need. And
other throughout Third Mutual as well. Yeah. So we're also looking at additional parking possibilities for cars and golf carts. Can we squeeze more spots out? Along with our turf reduction, is there any way of putting some spots in? Things like this. So there's a lot of things we have to look at. Yeah. So there's got to be a lot of research as well. In the landscape area, we're looking forward to verticutting, turf management, and we can show the first slide here what verticutting is.
Yeah, we got this on behind us, and I know this is something that has been common to golf courses for years.
Yeah, and as well as homeowner associations.
Right.
We're about the only ones in the whole area that don't do this.
Yeah.
And simplistically put, if you think about the grass clippings and how they compact down, they can solidify almost about a ½ inch to an inch above the ground. Yeah. And that stops the water flow from getting around, it stops the sunlight, and all like this. So it affects the growth pattern of grass. So what this does is it has like a dethatching machine. It has big heavy blades that go down and cut up everything, including weeds as well as grass, pulls it up to the surface, another machine comes along, skims it off, we get rid of it, and then they come through and mow it. And sometimes they need to reseed, but it bounces back within like 2 to 4 weeks. Right. So it's quite a process, but we have to be in the idea of turf management now, not turf reaction. So this should help us considerably. We have already budgeted for this item for next year, and it should start in early spring.
Okay, so if you were to get this, is this something that would be used on a monthly basis, or just going around as needed to certain areas?
Just as needed. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is hit areas where they have big open areas. Okay, that's where we can make a lot of money on this right off the bat. Right. And especially those areas we want to really come up nice and green in the summertime. So we'll get rid of the old thatch, bring in the new and reseed if we have to. Other places, it'll be a combination of this and turf reduction.
Okay.
So as you can see in the photograph, this is the kind of machine that goes around and does this. They have smaller ones, they have bigger ones. But when they get going, they really cover a lot of area quickly.
Okay.
Our own golf course has their own, but we can't use it because they use it quite often. So we'll probably have this under contract when it's done.
Okay. All right. So that means you'll have someone come around and do it every so often.
Probably.
As far as
at least the
when you're saying
initial
yeah,
for next
see
year,
how it works.
2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Still going on with landscape, a lot of you may have noticed that we have slope maintenance going on where
Yes.
we're taking down the slopes. A lot of things have caused that. In the past, we've had a lot of fire concerns, and the Orange County Fire Authority has come around and said, hey, you folks have to do some precautionary
Yeah.
works. Okay, so they're looking at the hillsides, telling us a lot of which we need to do, where they're located, and the possibility of burns. Okay, in some areas, like one close to mine, there's a lot of vegetation that goes straight up the hillside, and the plants on there create a flammable oil. And if a fire starts at the bottom, it'll go all the way up, reach a tree at the top, and be at
Right.
the top level of a
Yeah.
building. So we have to cut that down and make it manageable. I'm told in the future that we need to be keeping things at least 34 inches or less
Okay.
down. But the first pass, we're going to have to get rid of a lot of stuff in there. And as some people have mentioned, it helps control wildlife as well. So coyotes habitat,
Yeah,
they can't
yeah.
get in the thickets. We had one place where on one of the slopes, they found 4 rattlesnakes within 100 feet. So it'll help take care of this problem as
Wow.
well. So
yeah.
there's lots of benefits to this. And one of which is a reduction in use of water. We aren't going to have to use that much water. Because as you can imagine, when grass sprigs are farther apart, it takes less water to get down to the base
Yeah.
of it. So we're looking forward to saving money in that area. Also, funding for this area is put into the 2019 budget as well.
Okay.
So it'll be a continuing thing for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as water conservation, we've mentioned slope maintenance and verticutting, but I want to just go over a little bit about what's happening this year. This year we budgeted $2,533,000. As of the end of October, if everything holds the same, we will be over by approximately $270,000. So how do we deal with that? You know, how do we make sure next year we don't run into the same situation for budgeting? And so anyway, there's ways that people can help us save money. One of which is moisture intrusion. As you know, that's cost us a lot of money in the past. The cost to individuals, insurance companies, and to us, if you put it all together, is many thousands of dollars, okay, every year. And those of you who have had to live through the experience can testify that it's not a pleasant thing to go through.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, the first thing we'd like to touch on is if you see any form of water intrusion, a leak, water spots on your ceiling, water spots on your floors or anything like this, or any puddles of water, be sure you call Resident Services immediately and use the term leak.
Yeah.
I have a leak.
Okay.
Don't say I see a water stain or something like that. And then within an hour or so, somebody's going to be there to evaluate what your situation is.
All right.
So very, very important.
Yeah.
Other ways to save water, as we've mentioned before, one thing you can do is in your ice maker. We've had a lot of ice makers fail, and it's because of the water supply line and back, which is only plastic.
Right.
And it's really only good for 3 to 4 years. So if you want to make sure that you don't leak, then you need something like this. It doesn't cost a whole lot. It's over at Home Depot. And in fact, it's a chargeable service if you buy this, and we have our own VMS staff come out that can install it for you.
Okay.
In the back of your refrigerator. So it's flexible metal hosing and should last indefinitely, and it's highly recommended.
Yeah. One other thing, if I can put onto that, if you're somebody like we do not use our ice maker. We don't have one in our refrigerator. However, behind it is the valve.
Correct.
So number one thing I know a long time ago we did, not only we checked the valve to make sure it turned off, but also we put a valve cap on there.
Oh, good.
So that way, even if that thing got open somehow, nothing's going to leak out.
Correct.
So if you're not using your ice maker, there's a valve behind there or something, check it to make sure it closes tight, or put, close it off somehow, and you won't have any problems then.
Yeah, you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing is leaky faucets. If you have a leaky faucet, it'd be well worth the time to have somebody come out, replace a gasket if that's what it is, or a washer, a rubber washer. Or if you have something that's old, that the metal may be even decaying or falling apart, have it replaced. Now, one thing I found recently is in my shower, I had an old shower head which delivered a lot of water, but it was also leaking all over the place. So I went to Home Depot and I found one of these, and it's a low flow shower head, but it also has a little device on here called a trigger device. And a lot of us like to get in and have water pour over our head for a while. But then while you're soaping off, you just hit this and it virtually stops the water. While you're soaping off, then you punch it and it comes on again. So I put one in my place and I just love it. Boy, I'm glad I got rid of the old one.
Yeah.
But these are very inexpensive too. And I know over here at our own Home Depot, they have 5 different styles that have this trigger button on them. So that's another way you can save some money.
Okay.
Okay. Another thing that I have in my area was the water spout into the bathtub. And what this was doing was leaking, and it was leaking right here where the cable connects to go up to the shower head.
Okay.
And it's quite old because I'm only the second owner of my unit. But when I bought a new flex hose for my shower that came with the shower head, I connected it, and actually it helped stop some of the leaking. Okay. And when I pull the little trigger here to divert the water up to the shower head, it works a lot better now.
Okay.
And in fact, I like it a lot better than what I had before. But anyway, if your unit like this, like mine did, really leaks a lot between the connections, I would have that done. This can also be done as a chargeable service.
Okay.
But like the shower head and like the cabling for your ice maker, we recommend that you purchase the item to go on, and then we perform the labor.
Okay.
Okay, and that's in our new chargeable services list that you can call for resident services.
Okay.
And they can schedule you to have these items taken care of.
Okay, very
So
good.
I wanted to let you know on that. One last thing, as a precaution, if you're going to be away from your unit for an extended period of time, and that depends on the person. Some people may be gone a month, maybe 6 months, something like this. I would highly recommend that you have somebody in the local area that can check your unit while you're gone and look for moisture intrusion.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Any leaks, anything like that, and immediately report it on your behalf. It saves a lot of headache and a lot of damage and filing claims. So it's well worth your time if you can have somebody check on things for you and let you know. So those are the highlights that I see is coming up this next year. And as one last thing, many of you out there have ideas. And some people have come to me recently and said, how do I ever bring an idea forward? Well, here's how you can do it. Please write down what your idea is, pros and cons, things like this, and suggestions, and give it to the particular committee that's in charge of handling your suggestion. Okay, if it deals with walls, flooring, things like that, M&C would be the good place to go. If it deals with gardening or anything close to your house that's of a vegetation nature or slopes, then that's landscape. So don't let the opportunity go by to let your voice be heard. And to tell you the truth, it helps. It'll let us know that there's other things out there that we may not have considered.
Yeah,
so working together, we can listen to each other and work together and make our community better.
Yeah, for sure.
So other than that, I just wish everybody a Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
And hope everything goes well for you in the new year, and looking forward to working with everybody again.
All right, Steve. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
We'll be right back.